Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola and his fellow ranters as they sound off on the latest movies, TV, and the world of entertainment. Now, here are your ranters for the hour, Marco, Mila, Larry, and Bruno.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I am, as always, your host, Marco Mazzola. We are brought to you by the Subculture Podcast Network. All right, you can see, there's the rest of the ranters in there. We have Rebel Rock Radio, the Iconist Podcast, Dork Wars Podcast, Portable Hole, Trekkers Delight, and, of course, Entertainment Rants. You can check all of them out here at bio.link/subculturepod network. All right. Excellent. Let's go around the room and say hello. Hello, Larry.
Hey.
Hey, Mila.
Heyo.
And Bruno.
How's everybody doing?
Bruno came prepared today.
Oh man, I forgot to figure out what I was going to say. You caught me by surprise. It's been a crazy morning with all this snow.
I know, it's been nuts. We haven't even trekked out yet. Amy just went out to clean off her car, and after I'm done, I'm going to go take care of mine. So
yeah, I went out early, and I snapped the cotter pin on my snowblower, and good times. It only gets better.
Yeah, only gets better from here. How's everybody else faring in the snow?
I took a quick walk this morning. It was pretty nice, just around the neighborhood.
Nice.
And now Cece's shoveling out her car.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, yours could just stay buried. It's fine.
Not too bad over here. A little bit of shoveling. We have the luxury of having a landlord that likes to plow out our driveway, so that kind of helped out a lot. Plowed out so I can actually get up to leave in the morning for work. So other than that, though, I'm looking out the window, and yeah, it just keeps coming. So
it just keeps coming.
Love this weather.
Absolutely, definitely. Hold on. There we go. So anyway, this is our first podcast since the new year. So happy New Year, everybody!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Hopefully everybody had a great holiday, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever it is you celebrate. We hope you had a great one. Hope you had a great New Year's Eve and all that. We're starting back in. So as we discussed in the last podcast, we're thinking every year we're going to end the year with our tried and true Christmas Carol review, and hopefully every year we'll be able to bring something different to it. I have some things I'm not going to discuss yet, but some cool things that might be coming up for the end of the year. This year's Christmas Carol, so we want to make it different every year. So I think we got some cool things coming up for next year's pod or review, if you will. Today, our first one back after the new year, we are going to talk about Marvel's What If Season 2. We're just going to take care of the whole season in one shot, since they did it in 8 days, right? There was eight or 9 episodes, 9 episodes, excuse me, 9 episodes, and they released one a day until Christmas. I did not watch it on that schedule. I don't think any of us did. I literally just sort of binged them over the last couple of days, including 4:00 this morning. I watched the last 2, so I got with a one good bloodshot eye to do this podcast with today. It should be awesome. So let's go around the room, if you will, and get everybody's take on just an overall take on season 2. Compare it to season 1, whatever you think, and talk about. Then we can kind of get into every episode if you want to. Who wants to go first?
I'll jump in.
Larry.
Sorry, Bruno.
All good.
Overall, I like it better than I like season 2 better than season 1. Obviously, overall arc, I'm gonna give it like an average, just above a 3, maybe just a 3. There was really good notes. There was some really bad ones. And as we break down episode per episode, we can kind of get into that. But overall, wasn't bad. I liked it better than season 1, but for me, that wasn't asking for much. That's like sticking a flower in a pile of shit. That doesn't make the pile of shit any better. It just means that the pile of shit has now a flower in it. So
boy, am I glad we started off with Larry.
Sorry.
I think Larry and I are going to agree a lot this episode.
First time for everything. So let's see what Mila has to say. Maybe we'll change it up, but no, probably not.
I really hate most of this season. Hate so much of it. I was like, this is awful. This is literally the worst thing I've ever seen. There's like 2 or 3 redeemable episodes, and then the rest of it is like dog shit. Oh my god. Like, there were a couple of like really good episodes, but one overarching issue I have is the fact that it's not an anthology.
Say that again.
Anthology. You don't have to have a connection to everything. They connected everything. They keep doing that. And I'm like, okay, but I just had a huge gripe with like the whole weird arc that was going on in general with Captain Carter, who's not a captain right now because leading one other person sometimes. So she's just kind of
once you're a captain, you're always a captain.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It was messy, and especially the ending. Oh my god,
it was really messy.
The ending was so atrocious. It was a train wreck.
Yeah.
All right, Bruno, go for it. Get it, tag it.
So let's start with the good things because that's a much shorter list, I think. I feel like they did a better job in this arena to flesh out some of the characters, right? Like when they fleshed out like Hela in episode 7, it was cool that Kate Blanchett came back and voiced her again. It was a much deeper character, but there was some really dumb shit in there too. But with that being said, I agree with everything you guys said already. Like, I think this whole like what if kind of came about, and I could be wrong, but I thought it was, hey, let's change one thing and see what happens. And now it's sort of changed into what if all this other shit just happened and it didn't hold together for me. Like, there were a lot of, they just started going way, way, way off the reservation. They didn't change one thing. They didn't replace one person. They didn't, this person survived instead of getting killed, etc. It was, what if, oxygen didn't exist and we had to live in the, it was like, it was just really arbitrary for me. And so a lot of that was tough. Much like Mila, I hated most of this season. It was really hard for me to choose. Like, I had to really like slog through and make myself sit and watch this stuff. And it wasn't interesting. I was not excited to hear Taika Waititi again. There are a couple cool things. I'm pretty sick of Doctor Strange. Like, they've done that. The evil Strange. There were a couple. Like, I loved episode 3, right? Because it was just a remake of Die Hard. That was a shining light to me because it was kind of cool. It was a little fun. It was a fun take. But for the most part, season 2 was, a big flop. And I was surprised to feel that way because I was looking at some reviews about other people on YouTube, and there was some pretty positive. They were like, "Oh, it's so great! It's a big change, and this and that." And I was like, "All right, I'm not getting that." So we might have an unpopular views here.
Yeah, and it's somewhat unanimous too. I mean, I'm always a big supporter, but I had the same issues, and I know Mila and I felt this. We talked about this offline before. It was a little hard to trudge through it. There was definitely some episodes that were worse than others to trudge through. There was definitely some cool parts to it. I did like the Die Hard reference. I liked the fact that the first episode with Nebula was basically Blade Runner. Like,
yes.
It was very Blade Runner-esque. That's what it was meant to be.
I like that.
I thought that was cool.
Blade Runner, a little Judge Dredd thrown in there.
Yeah, little Judge Dredd. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. Some of the things that they did with that were fun.
Yeah, but no more Howard the Duck. We don't need Howard the Duck.
Well, and that's what I was going to get at too. I agree with you. Like, a second season, and it's just a continuation of the first season. And you know what I mean? There's so many what if stories, and we've been playing with this storyline, this, the Infinity Saga. We've been dealing with that since it began with Iron Man. Like, at some point you have to let it move forward. You know what I mean? And even though we're in phase 16 they're in now, like, it's like we're still dragging up Thanos. We're still even in Loki, which, I love the series, but we're still dragging up Infinity Stones, and we're still, touching on all these things. Like, at some point you have to move forward, and season 2 did not move forward. You still have Strange Supreme. It's just a continuation of season 1, which is dredging up all the, you see Thanos multiple times again, and all the same crap. It's such a broad subject that you can do anything with, right? The old what ifs. What if Wolverine fought the Hulk, and or whatever, right? It's just, there's so many different things you can do, and they just stuck to the same old. And don't get me wrong, I love Captain Carter. She's one of my favorite characters. I'm looking forward to her being in the Secret Wars, which is what they're speculating. And she'll be part of, because she's still in this, she'll be part of Secret Wars, and so will everybody else. I'm happy about that. But is what it is. It's a Secret Wars that's bringing back all these old things. But for now, can we get some new shit? And this is not any new shit, other than the new character they brought in, which, don't get me wrong, I liked, but I thought was kind of like, all right, why are we doing it? Are we doing it just for that reason? You know what I mean? See if I can find what's happening. Oh, I'm getting a wicked feedback. Larry, is that you?
No, I just unmuted my mic now to talk.
Oh. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody's got something going on there back. Who's that? Neil, is that you? In the background, you in the neck.
What?
Yeah, that's
good.
Oh yeah, something just turned on. Hold on.
Oh, okay, somebody's vacuuming or something. Anyway, so but it's so we had that episode which we're bringing in the Native Americans, essentially. The indigenous
I think her name is Hardy.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked her character. I thought it was great. It was, so okay, we bring in somebody different. We bring in somebody new now. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. It was a good story. It's a good way to, didn't know she was going to be the sort of end all be all that helps Captain Carter defeat and win the day. But okay, I'm all right. That part I was okay with, because it was something new, something we hadn't seen for the last 15 years.
Yeah, but you knew something was going to pop up when they made it that she found the Tesseract, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of piggyback what everybody's already said. The what if was supposed to be one-offs, one-shots. It's not supposed to be I believe that this is what Mila was alluding to. It's not supposed to be an ongoing story with every single episode being a continuation of the last. The what ifs is supposed to be one-shots. Like, hey, what happened if the Tesseract ended up in a lake, and now all of a sudden she becomes a superhero? Okay, that necessarily isn't supposed to tie into this ongoing arc that they obviously had made up. I mean, we're all just piggybacking off of what each other's saying. It's the same thing essentially. It's what if it's supposed to be one episode, not 9 episodes of the same story? We're going back to the Infinity Saga. We're going back to the gems. We've done this already. Why do we continue to do this? So
if they're going to do that, and I agree with what you're saying, if they're going to do that, which they did with season 1, because that was the ongoing story at the time, right? So they want to tie in the what if to what's happening in the movies, what's also happening on their streaming shows, their other live action shows. I get it. Okay, that's fine. But season 2 is past the Infinity Saga, right? So why didn't we do a what if Moon Knight? Why didn't we, Like, why didn't we do any of the what ifs from any of the characters and the things that we've seen post, Infinity Saga? If you're going to do it, and you still have to tie it into what you're currently doing in the movies, right? We didn't do anything with the Marvels. We didn't do anything with any of the stuff that's really happening now within their movie timeline. It's like we're still dredging up the past.
It could be that you're talking about delays in design and implementation based on how long it takes. Like, so you're talking about animation now, right? So animation takes a lot longer. You can't just go out and reshoot and have a month later be done. You've got, animation is slower, and then you've got to design those stories. It's not as easy in an animation story to redesign, and my brother talks to me about this all the time. Like, if, halfway through shooting something, they might be like, what, it might be better to see it from here, or let's have the spaceship come this way instead of that way. So you can make that change. But and when you're animating, I think you've got to plan those out, and you're done. You're on a track and you're going. And so it could be that these were started, season 2 might have been started 2 years ago before.
Right, but remember, Infinity War
came out.
Came out in 2018.
No, I agree with you. They went.
You know what I mean? So we're well past.
Yeah, I'm trying to make
5,
excuses
6.
for them, essentially.
No, I know, and that's usually me. Really, that's usually my job.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. So it could be that's why. It could just be that they're being lazy. It could be that they went with movies or episodes that made them money, and so they know there's appeal there.
And don't get me wrong, the newer movie stuff hasn't made as much money as the original Infinity Saga stuff.
Not nearly.
So that could be another reason why they didn't stick with that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't going to get them the viewership they thought.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if this one is going to either.
Well, I mean, they could have. I mean, I think Captain Carter was well received, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but I thought they jumped the shark. It was at episode 9 when they basically gave her everybody's weapon.
Yes, the very end. Yeah.
That was crazy. That was like when you're. Yeah. It was like almost. It made me think of when you're a kid and you're playing pretend and you go, no, but I have this and I've got this and then I've also
I got Mjolnir.
And I got this thing
and I got Odin's sword and I got the Infinity.
And like, why would they give her these things anyway? Aren't they universe killers? They're like, here, take my helm and my
shield has all of
and my hammer and this. I was like,
so they were calling they were calling it universe killers. But I was kind of seeing it like I saw Happy Hogan Hulk, which annoyed the shit out of me. I mean, he was cool to see him the first time. I was still kind of confused, and we'll go over episode by episode if we want to. Yeah. But to see Hogan Hulk in numerous episodes in different universes, I'm still kind of confused about. Like, why? How? Like, if that storyline was
strange,
that confused the hell out of me.
Into the universes and basically plucked them out. Because they're not only universe killers, but he also said they're universe saviors. Like they're
so is it just like people that have immense power in those universes, and then he just plucked them all out?
To get rid of them. He needed to get rid of them to bring back his universe that has his girlfriend. That's basically what I understood.
It was still.
Still, but again, it's just dredging up.
It was exhausting to watch.
It was exhausting. He's just a lonely man. Go get another girlfriend. Like, enough. She didn't like you, but she wasn't gonna be with you anyway. So,
I've mended my ways.
Yeah.
Except for that, I haven't.
He has not moved on. He needs some therapy.
Thing.
Just move on. Just move on. You know what I mean? Get yourself. Go on Tinder. Whatever. Do what you got to do, and let's just move on from this shit because it's enough already.
Go find a new one.
Yeah. So
it was David. Like Doctor Strange coming back and then also doing all that in general was so tiring to watch. I was like, that was season 1.
Yeah.
Like it's also the fact that it can't just be. Not only can it not be an anthology, it can't even be its own season. Like, do we have to dredge these things up again? This was his episode in season 1. He had an episode like that.
Yeah,
it was fine.
It was just bigger and better, right? It was just
and
bigger,
they were like,
strange.
we got to do that again.
Yeah,
they can't their own universe. They keep themselves their own show.
Not only did they do it again, but this is the 3rd time that we've seen the evil Doctor Strange, right? Yeah, we saw him we saw him in What If season 1. We saw him in the actual movie, the live action movie, and now we. So enough of this evil Doctor Strange, like you said, Marco. Go on a date, go find a new woman. I don't know what to tell you.
For me, also, the thing is, Captain Carter's a cool character, but her existence and role in this universe is to make it that it's not an anthology. Like, that's her one job, is to make sure it doesn't stay its own, that it's not a one-shot. Because she has to now be a savior of the multiverse.
They've essentially branched the timeline. They just branched,
and it's just her. Like it's
not a
all riding on her shoulders. And I'm like,
and that's
right. Well, she is one of the guardians of the multiverse, but like she's the guardian of the multiverse. What happened to everybody else? When they ended season 1, there was a team like the Guardians of the Galaxy. There was a Guardians of the Multiverse, and she is the only one who is.
part of the issue for me is that it's become a little self-aware, right? Where you're talking about like these people in the what ifs are supposed to be, this is what would have happened if these good guys didn't save the universe or whatever. And it just, they're not aware of the multiverse per se. And all of a sudden in these what ifs, everybody's aware of the multiverse and they're trying to save the multiverse. And what does that mean? Does that mean that in saving the multiverse, they're trying to save their version of the timeline? And like now we've got like, we're all fucked up. And then what happened to the TVA? Where the fuck was the TVA and all of this bullshit?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so nothing holds together. And that's frustrating from certainly somebody who appreciates good writing and good creation. If you're gonna create a story, have it hold together. And at this point, it's gone off the rails. And you're talking about multi. If you're going to say that canon is the movies per se, right? And maybe whatever they've released on Disney Plus, then make the what ifs just these are one-offs. They're not multi season things. It's a one time, you're done, and let's try a new idea. You know what I'm saying? And they're kind of mixing it up. And I think that's confusing for watchers. Doesn't hold together story-wise. It's a mess.
Well, I think that seems to be the problem, Bruno, is that the what ifs are supposed to be one-offs and one-shots. The problem they had with them is they made them canon. They made them linear. They gave them a huge story arc. They're not supposed to be.
Right.
So now you created this huge story arc, and I'm like, all right, well, is that story arc in a separate universe? Does it fall under a different banner? Or are they going to try to tie that all into the live action stuff? And then if they do, then the what ifs absolutely don't make sense, because the what ifs already had a set of rules. You've now messed with those rules, and you apply to those rules when you feel like it. I don't like what they're doing with that. As far as
rules.
Well, I mean,
it's the fact that it's not even an interesting story. It's not even good.
Yeah. A bunch of the what ifs when I was deciding which one do I want to watch first, aside from I wasn't going to do it episode 1 through 9. I was looking at all the topics and I was like, boring. Like the titles didn't inspire me. And so I was like, oh, I got to watch these. And so like you sort of slog through it, but like not even the premise was interesting, and I don't know. I mean, I
think that's it. There was nothing interesting. The stuff that was new wasn't interesting. And the other stuff was just old rehash. So that's not interesting. I want new stuff that's interesting. And they didn't really give us that. Yeah. I felt there was nothing new and interesting.
What about Dave's comment about Doom, if done right, would revive the movie?
Yeah, David, I think he's absolutely right. If they could do Doom right. Now, I've been saying for years, if you give it to Marvel, you give it to Feige, they'll do it right. But then this whole last phase has not really proven me right on that. You know what I mean?
I'm really disappointed in Feige too. Like he's kind of, I don't know if he's just resting on his laurels or what,
or he's just spent and tapped out by this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been 20 years into this, whatever it is, by the time that, from when they started working on Iron Man to now, I mean, it's a long time to be working on this one thing. You know what I mean? It's diverse, but it's still the same universe, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not really spreading his wings.
I also feel that they might be rushing this now because they have to. They have to change up the multiverse timeline. So the multiverse phases. I think that they have to kind of speed this up. And this was only supposed to be like kind of like a spot filler. And now they need to wrap this up so they can bring the new baddie, because I don't think that the whole, especially with the whole Jonathan Majors thing.
They're talking about recasting him.
Right, but I believe that that's kind of muddled a lot of things up because they weren't sure what was essentially going to be the outcome of that. So I feel that they kind of had to rush certain things out. Maybe that's why they dropped all 9 of these episodes at once. The same thing with Echo. Maybe they're trying to like kind of tie up loose ends so they can get to the new phase, because they know that this phase just really isn't doing too well. I mean, I don't know. I agree with you though. I think Feige, I don't want to say that he's kind of cashed that in or called it in, but I think might be slowly coming to the end of his rope, because like you said, 20 years at this, 20 plus years at this, it might take its toll. I don't know if it continues to go this route or they bring somebody else on that can
We need
maybe
some new creative blood. I really do. And look, it's not his fault. It's hard. It's hard to write a long story like this, because it's hard. And, you know, I've got fatigue just from watching the movies. I can't imagine being the guy who wrote them, essentially.
Yeah, who's worked on every single one of them, has to
Every
be
single
involved
one
in
of
every single thing. Yeah.
Well, it's really hard to do. And so I get where he's coming from, and I get if he's tired, it makes sense. It adds up. So, but like, so, you know, get some more creative juices in there. Get more people who are interested. Get some fans. Look, fans. You look at the Star Wars world, right? You know, what's his name started it, but then everybody came through and was like, look, here's another cool idea. And they wrote their own side story, and some of them were taken up and became canon, whatever. People crowdsourcing ideas come up with some great stuff. So maybe crowdsource, maybe just hire 10 new creatives and fire the 8 that suck. You know, like get a bunch
They did that with Daredevil.
I mean, right. I mean, just get a bunch of people and get a bunch of new ideas and workshop them. You know, that's what you have to do. I think he's just tired. It seems like it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And back to David's point, like, I think if they brought in Doom, I mean, I would love that. I love Doom as a character. I think they've never done him correctly in any iteration so far, live action. So to see them do it would be nice. And, you know, who do you get to play him? I know there's been a bunch of things bouncing around on who might be him. I would love to see it. I think he's more interesting of a villain than Kang, personally. And I would like to see it because he's more, you know, he's grounded. He's Earth-based.
Would you want to see him like in the timeline, controlling the timeline, multiverse, or something different?
Well, I mean, he did do that. He was a major part of the Secret Wars. He basically became like God Doom and was basically the one that controlled it and kicked it all off. So, you know, they could potentially go that route if they wanted to replace Kang with him and do it that way. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with it. So we'll see what they do with it, but I think he could be a very interesting villain. You know, we have Fantastic Four coming up at some point. Hopefully they bring that through. But I think what's going to save them if they're doing it right is going to be Deadpool 3.
I mean, Deadpool is always going to make money. Everybody loves Ryan Reynolds. It's funny. He breaks the fourth wall. There's a lot of you can't go wrong.
Well, no, they could. There's a lot of room to go wrong if they screw it up. Because they're trying to bring in, like Larry's been saying, they're going to basically kill off the Fox universe, right? Because it's going to be Deadpool 3 is basically a multiverse section. So there's a lot of people coming back that have already said they're coming, not just Hugh Jackman. There's a lot of people that have hinted they're coming back for this movie, including Patrick Stewart, who might actually be making an appearance. But yeah, I read something about that too. He's like, yeah, I don't think my time's done with Professor Xavier. So
wow,
and they're creating another Star Trek movie with him. There's another script with Jean-Luc Picard that's floating now. Yeah, he's not done. I listened to his book.
Like a young Jean-Luc Picard. So
no, it's gonna pick up after Picard because that didn't really leave him off in a space where he was done.
Hey, your vacuum's going, Mila.
Huh?
Vacuum on again.
Oh yeah, the vacuum. Well, it's not a vacuum. It's a boiler, I think.
We need to be warm or something. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. But all right, let's do a quick rundown episode by episode. We're not going to spend too long on it because God knows. Let's see. Start. Where's my episode covers? So all right. So episode 1. Let's see. Where are you? Is episode 1? It's basically Nebula joins the Nova Corps. Glenn Close back in doing the voice.
Yep.
That is something I do like that they, 90% of the actors.
I like that a lot.
And re-voice. They don't just recast everybody.
Yeah,
that does infuriate me. The fact that like Robert Downey Jr. doesn't come back to voice Stark bothers me.
Yeah.
Was that you think because he wanted too much money?
Oh yeah, I guarantee you that's all money based. Yeah. For him to step anywhere near them, it's like $1 billion. Like he doesn't care. He's like, yeah, if you want me, it's gonna cost you. Even though his face isn't on screen, you just want my voice. It's gonna, and he can do it from home. Because a lot of them do now.
Yeah.
They set up booths basically in their house and they just record it and send it. So, it's not like you'd actually have to go there. But yeah, still, it would cost way too much. I think it's cost prohibitive to have him on there. Same with Chris Evans. He doesn't voice. But Helmsworth still does.
Yep.
I think Scarlett Johansson, maybe with the stuff that happened with them.
Nick Fury still does it.
Yeah. Hiddleston still does, obviously, he's Loki since he's still playing the character. But to get people like Kate Blanchett back and things like that, even the peripheral characters that were like the one-offs, I thought that was cool. I think that's cool.
Here's the thing: Kate Blanchett is a big star, also. So she might have come back and just said, "Let's, I'll do this, and it's okay." And I know you don't have to pay me millions of dollars to do it, and it was cool that she did it.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Downey Jr.'s got millions. He could have easily come back and said, "You know what? This is, for the fans. I'll voice it." A bunch of people did that. The woman that voiced Gamora was awful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, and they ought to have in their contracts. I'm sure it's way too late now, but they ought to have something that says, like, look, whenever we do some sort of spin-off, or if this character shows up again in the next X years, you've got to be the one that voices it, and we'll pay you whatever. Here's a rate.
Yeah, but that'd be hard to tie them down. Like that's it's literally a what if. What if in 5 years we just choose to do this now? You have to stop whatever you're doing and be available for us.
Well, you could put all clauses on it. You could say, assuming you're available and assuming that whatever, but who knows?
But I think most of the time it just comes down to money. Availability. I don't think a lot of it comes down to availability when it comes to voiceover work. Especially these are just like, for most of them, it's a one episode and done, right? Gamora was in it, so Zoe Saldana didn't come back for that one episode. She could have done it from home. Even if she was busy during the day on a job, go home, record it, send it. Yeah, it's done. She just wanted to do it. They didn't want to, they didn't want to fork over the money for her. Maybe she wanted too much. And some of them are just, some of them, I know a lot of them just kind of got like put off by the whole Disney and Marvel thing of it all, so they don't really want anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
That does happen too.
The fans suffer, right?
Absolutely, they do. Like you said, the Gamora voice sucked. And, the Stark character is close, but not, you can definitely tell it's not him. It's like when Jim Henson's son started doing Kermit. It's really close, but you could tell it's not Jim Henson.
It sounded almost like a little too cartoonish, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. You get the flavor of it, but it's not quite the same.
No.
Right.
Not the same.
So.
All right. So what are your thoughts on the first episode? Gamora. Look, I keep saying Gamora. Nebula.
The first episode was the
Nebula joins. It was a really cool idea, and I thought it was just a really cool tone in general.
Yeah. I liked Blade Runner. I love Blade Runner as a movie.
Yeah.
So then to kind of hit that Blade Runner feel for it was fun.
It was
for me, that saved any part of it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And she really leaned into the whole cyborg thing. Like it was good. I mean, Howard the Duck. No, thank you. But
what's your adversity to Howard the Duck? Why don't you like it?
What did he ever do?
I just think it's a stupid ass idea.
It's a dumbass character.
Even back then, even back in the 80s when it came out.
86, 85.
Yeah. I was like, this is straight dumb.
The fact that they keep trying is the funniest thing. They go like, Howard the Duck is gonna happen right now.
Yeah. Right. Hey, I got an idea. Let's put Howard the Duck in this.
One of the things that I didn't like about actually this overall story as we get into it, I thought it was just this one episode because obviously it's the first one. It's too much like something we've already seen. The first, you already said it. This one was a lot like Blade Runner. Yeah, we've all seen Blade Runner. Give me an original idea. Don't tap into something that we've already done, something that we've already watched. Bruno, you had said that you got vibes of Judge Dredd. That was 100% what I got off that. Like the whole redeeming, like, she was a bad person. Not that Judge Dredd was a bad person, but it was that very Judge Dredd feel. So we've already seen these movies. So if you're going to give me something else. I don't need to see a story that's already been rehashed. That was one of the things I didn't like about this episode, and I didn't know that it was going to be an ongoing thing throughout the whole season.
Yeah, they redid.
A lot of episodes,
right? Yeah, they took that idea and they ran with it, and they were like, all right, let's make episode 3 Die Hard, and episode 2 will be I don't remember what episode, but like they just kept going. You're absolutely right. That's exactly, now that you mention it, that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, they did. And just for clarity, Howard the Duck came out in '76. The original comics are from the '70s.
Well, the comics, yeah. When was the movie out?
That was '80s.
Okay,
That tanked.
That was my first introduction.
Horrible. Yeah, that was that horrible tank of a movie. Like, was it George Lucas's or is Spielberg? One of them.
Spielberg?
Like their biggest, like the movie they don't ever talk about because it basically bankrupted the company. The suit alone cost like over $1 million.
That's amazing.
Just for the suit.
Such a waste of money.
It was such a waste of money. It was horrible. And in the comics, he actually does sleep with her too. This panel, he's sleeping with Beverly.
Oh, great!
In the comics, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
It was the
that was
70s.
good.
It was the
What I
70s.
like about this episode, though, is they've finally given us some sort of supernova, which is something that a lot of people have been clamoring for. So I kind of like the way that they kind of shoehorned the whole Nova Corps in here, because we haven't seen a live action, and it's something that a lot of people have been clamoring for. So we got a little bit of it. So now we know what Nova Corps is. If you didn't know what it was before, you kind of know what it is now. So now you can come off of a live action off of that, because people know what Nova Corps is. So
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of cool that they finally put that out there into the universe. Now we've seen it one way or another, you know.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
agree.
point.
I would like to see more Nova Corps stuff, but we'll
I
see.
would love
They've
to see more
teased
Nova
that
Corps
about
stuff.
100 times and they keep pulling it away. We're gonna do Nova. No, we're not gonna do Nova. So we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. I mean, he's a cosmic character. I don't see why they haven't done him yet. You know what I mean? They leaned into the Marvels. That would have been a perfect time to bring him in, but might have saved that movie. Who knows?
I mean, that movie had a lot of problems. You just consistency wise.
The Aquaman 2 beat it already in the theaters. It's already made more money.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard that it's not good.
No, I can't imagine it is. I mean, I'll see it when it comes out on streaming, but just because but I guarantee you, it's not. It's not
Wait, what
to
movie
write
came
home
out?
about.
Aquaman 2.
When Aquaman 2, it's surpassed the Marvels in terms of box office.
Oh,
gross
is it just
already.
Aquaman 2?
Yeah.
Oh, the Marvels. Oh, okay. That was the other
Yeah.
one.
So,
Yeah,
so
I've got
right?
zero intention on watching either of those movies. So
The
I'll
Marvels
watch
have
both
been
of them.
really good.
I'll watch both of them because I got that kind of time. But we'll see.
Marco, what you just said brought up something I was thinking about. Like, you don't need to watch the what ifs at all, right? To go and be in the MCU. The what ifs are kind of fan service, if you want to. Mm-hmm. It's like these are things you watch as extras between the seasons, between the shows that you're really looking for. So you can totally skip all of these.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if you're going to skip all of these, or if you're going to write something for the people that really, really are into it, you got to do better.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
You can really lean into callbacks and these things. You can really lean into like fan theories. Like, maybe that's what they should have been doing. They should have been, and maybe they did some of it, but they should have been looking at forums and just pulling out cool fan theories and bringing them to life. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that would super resonate with people like us that like want to watch the stuff between the lines, where we want to see something extra. Hey, I'm kind of yearning for some more superhero stuff. Let me see something else. Let me watch this. Let me watch that. And they I don't feel like they did that. This felt like they forced it.
Yeah, this definitely felt like a forced season for a Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
I think you nailed it right there too, Bruno. I think that a lot of it they should have plugged from the fan service. Like, just go with some fan theories, because that's literally what if is. It's like, what if Peter Parker didn't get bit by the spider, and if Harry Osborn got bit by the spider,
right?
Like that's what it's supposed to be. It's like, what if? What if
Ant-Man did shrink down and go up Thanos' butt?
Like what if? What if these things are supposed to be?
But that's the problem. I mean, you're coming off the comics, which was, they did for years, and it was very broad. There was nothing that needed to tie into anything. Financially, they didn't need to tie it to anything. They could write the stories they wanted to write that they couldn't use in their normal timeline. right? Because you don't want to affect the general continuity of the way the character runs. So you write this little crazy story off to the side to kind of get it out of your system.
Right.
And these weren't that. They're a crazy offshoot that actually ties back in to the main storyline that's happening, because it's going to affect the multiverse stuff going forward. And we'll see Captain Carter jump out. You know what I mean? We saw her in Multiverse of Madness. So we're going to see all that, coming back into play. So no, I don't think you have to watch them necessarily to watch the movies going forward, but you have some context if they start showing up again. Well, I guarantee we'll see Supreme Strange again for the 1400th time coming up in some of the movies, and we'll definitely see Captain Carter again. I God hope we don't see Happy Hulk Hogan and pulling off the WrestleMania t-shirt and going to town with it. I think it's just, there's so much of it doesn't need to be.
That was so weird.
That was a weird one. That was definitely a weird one. However, I did like seeing what's his name back in again. Justin Hammer. I like seeing
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
he's
cool.
good. He's good.
I like his villain.
Yeah.
So for me, that wasn't that bad of an episode out of all 9 episodes. I'm not gonna say that was one of the better ones, but that's definitely one of the medium ones, if you will. Ooh, look at that graphic.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like.
We got visuals on this show. It's full tilt over here today.
What happened?
Crazy.
I was full. This is full on today. I was busy today putting things together for the show.
The Hammer character I actually kind of like. Like when he comes out and he's dancing and he's kind of almost like mocking Tony Stark, right? And I like that. So this episode for me wasn't bad at all. I didn't mind Happy Hulk Hogan, but I don't know why he looked like Freddy Krueger. And that was one of the things I didn't understand. Like his face was kind of like, he reminded me of Freddy Krueger. He was purple, which I didn't understand either. I didn't get that part of it. But again, here's another episode that we're gonna take off of a movie that we all know. It's like, oh look, it's Christmas. We're gonna put him in the air dog, and oh look, it's freaking Die Hard. It's like, all right, where's the originality of all this? And that's when I realized, okay, this is the third episode of the season. Is every episode going to be like this, where they take from a movie that we already know and just take that idea and cartoonize it, animation, I don't know. But that kind of part of that took me out of the episode for as good as the episode kind of sort of was, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah.
You lost me. I cartoonized it. All right.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think any of them were terrible. They weren't like total garbage. Like of all of them, I mean, all right. I mean,
Larry's starting to lose it.
The second episode in was horrible. That's the worst one I got.
I mean, of all of them, episode 2 was probably the worst. I agree with that.
I thought it was like super, super mid.
Oh, the Star-Lord episode?
Yeah, like painfully mid. Like not bad, but like really not good.
I could have definitely done without that episode.
I thought that episode out of all of them was legit. Like I'm looking at my rankings for each episode. That was the worst one that I had. I gave that one a 2.
Remind me, because I know it was only a couple of days ago when I watched it, but what the hell did that have to do with anything that happened in the last episode? Like I don't really remember. Like the first season still sticks in my mind, and the episodes have distinctiveness between each one. This one they blur together.
Well, so this one was in season 2. Peter Quill, instead of Yondu keeping Peter, because that's what the original thing, he actually gives him to Ego, and Ego's like, "Hey, this is how you." So he ends up becoming like Peter Quill becomes this demigod, if you will, and he's got all this crazy power. And the whole idea is he helps Ego with his plan, which is to take over the universe by activating all these little seedlings. But he's still a little kid, and he's like, dude, not for nothing, I still want to go to like Nebraska or wherever the hell he's from, and he wants to go see his mom again. So he goes back to where he came from originally, and then that's when you see the 1980s original Avengers, if you will, which I thought like that part was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where you saw the original Hank Pym as Ant-Man, you saw Ben Foster as Giant Man. So like that part was really cool. I like that we got to see those guys be the original Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, you can eat a bag of dicks. Sorry. We have the MA. We have the NA rating. We need to put that on here somewhere.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's all right.
But yeah, so that's
no,
so
but
that's
I
what-
agree. But if you have the original Avengers, man, would we like to have seen more of that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
like
There's
that's,
an
that's
idea,
original.
right?
That's
Take
cool.
these.
That would've been
and just
nice.
Give us the original Avengers.
Yeah,
Why not?
that this is where you can do that.
Yeah, there was
You know what
also
I mean?
a bunch of like little things that just didn't make sense in this episode. Like especially Bruno, you might have noticed this when the girl, I don't remember who she is, but the girl's falling to her death, and Giant Man catches her, but like way at the bottom, like almost above the ground. And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that really would have done much for her situation.
Yeah, it's the
It's like, I got
stopping.
you. I was like, not really.
It's the
It's the
Superman.
stopping that
It's the
kills you,
Superman
not so
theory.
much the ground itself.
It's that Superman theory, like from Superman 1 with Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder. When he comes up to catch her when she's falling off the bed, he would have sliced her in half. He's made of steel.
That's
like
right.
the way she's falling and the way he hits, he would have sliced her right in half. There's no way you're gonna catch her like that.
A red mist.
Yeah, Neil, you're exactly right. He still would have been squished.
Yeah,
I was like,
What-
great,
He
you
would've
caught her.
hit the hand and
corpse.
splattered.
One of the things that bothered me. in the-
Splatter of a person. What do you want me to do with this?
Here you go.
Okay, hold on.
Erase it off.
One of the things that bothered me was the whole Bucky Barnes thing. Now, when they see, because Peggy Carter sees him, right? She goes, "Oh my God, I heard the rumors." What is it, when he's coming off the plane, right? When Winter Soldier's coming off the plane, and Bucky Barnes, old Bucky Barnes, is standing there with Peggy Carter, and they're both like, "Oh my God, I heard the rumors, but they can't be true." And she's like, "Oh my God, he looks just like him." Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Stark that said that. That's what it was. It was Stark and Peggy Carter. And Stark says, "I heard the rumors, but even if they're true, the person we know is gone." But then Steve Rogers name drops him later on in the episode when he's on, like when he taps into his comm, and he's like, what would Steve Rogers do? So it's like, wait a minute. So you knew that was Bucky the whole time, and you never said anything? Like you openly let this dude come in and then try to play Peggy for an idiot? I was kind of confused with that whole thing. Like they knew that Bucky had survived everything. They knew that, well, at least Stark knew that Bucky was the Winter Soldier. That kind of took me out of it a little bit.
I mean, I think that's consistent with a lot of the stuff they did, where they just kind of forgot about something that happened just a few minutes earlier, right? Like just I don't think they thought a lot of things through. I agree with you 100%. None of that piece made sense, Larry. Like when I looked at like Hela's helmet, they turned Hela's helmet into like Mjolnir. Like what? And then you had to be worthy to wear the helmet. What does it mean to be worthy? Hela was in the movies evil, and then
right. But he said that you have to be sympathetic. Like basically, you have to have. Instead of being evil, if you want to wear this helmet, have powers. Yeah, he changed it.
Yeah, but then
he
there's a
whispered
huge
to the helmet the
redemption.
same way he whispered to Mjolnir.
But there was a big redemption at the end where she basically becomes really good, right?
Which is what they did with Thor.
So which is it? What do you have to be super evil or super good? Or
well, he changed it. He changed it to be you have to be super evil. He got tired.
Mercy.
He wanted her to stop being evil. He needed her to put down the sword and stop fighting, and that was his whole goal, was to make her stop fighting. So he said, all right, if you want your powers back and not just want to be mortal, you need to be good. You need to be a good person and have sympathy and empathy.
Yeah,
that's why.
I guess it didn't fit to me. It didn't fit.
That was the whole point. At the end of it, he knew what was happening. Like when he's fighting her and Wenwu, he's like, I know what's going on. He basically knew what was happening. That he's like, see, doesn't it feel good to be nice? At the end of it, he's like, there you go. You can have your little pointy helmet back now.
I've had that conversation with my kids.
Yeah. Well, it's his daughter.
Nice?
It's just she's just a lot older. It's his daughter. Like, yeah, still having those conversations. So in 2,000 years, you're still going to be having that conversation with your boys. Not going to matter. So,
I didn't like the jokey Hella. I didn't think that fit with her.
It was weird. I mean, it was a progression, right? And God knows how long she was actually there training, right? So it's kind of hard to judge time-wise how long she had been there training and doing all that. But yeah, she definitely shifted.
It was a little bit boorish, right? She's very boorish. So I was like, I felt like Hella's character, at least portrayed in the movie, was very serious and mighty and badass.
Yeah,
and I think that in this one, so that's where I think that sometimes we get lost a little bit, right? Is we see the character from the movie. This essentially is the what if, right? It's what if that character that you know from the movie gets a change of heart. Like instead of getting banished to hell, they say in the beginning of that episode, instead of getting banished to hell, which we saw in the original movie, instead of getting banished to hell, he strips her of her power. He does to her what we all saw him do to Thor in Thor 1. So that I mean that this was actually probably one of my favorite episodes.
Send him to Earth. What the hell did we do?
It was a good episode.
Yeah.
Well, Midgard sucks.
Well,
apparently they just hate us because they keep sending their trash our way. Thor now hell, like leave us the hell alone.
I know.
Yeah,
leave us alone, Mel Brooks.
Yeah, but this one I actually liked out of all of them. For me, it felt like it had a decent storyline from beginning to end. There wasn't a lot of like really missed opportunities here with this one.
Yeah.
I think that they did hit a lot of things. Like obviously the time, so we don't know how long she was actually there, so we don't know how long she trained. So I could see where the character. You did see a character progression, which I'm very surprised because we really never
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I did dig this. Out of all of them, this is probably my favorite one. I mean, I gave this one the highest ranking out of all 9 episodes. I like this one a lot.
It was a good progression too, and her redemption was really good. I liked it. I just, I think there's just a few things that took me out of it. Right? She was a little bit jokey,
although it is before she was banished to hell. So.
Yeah. I get it.
Being banished to hell kind of does something for humor.
We jumped right the hell around because that's episode 7.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. So much for order. But it's okay though, Bruno. You didn't watch them in order, so I guess that works out perfectly.
I didn't. I
didn't watch them in order. So, all right. What did we think of? We kind of talked about a little bit. The Captain Carter fights the what do you call it? The Hydra Stomper.
Dude,
did not like this episode.
I know. I love Captain Carter, but it was just the same episode.
I don't like Captain Carter.
Shut up.
She's
not
interesting. There's nothing special about her.
Why don't
She's
you like
British, which is cool.
She's British.
She's British.
I guess. But like it's like reinventing Captain America. It's literally that. It's going, but now it's Peggy Carter instead. And you go, I know this character. I know. I get it.
So that was my thing in season 1. That Marco, I don't understand why you loved it so much. The only difference was literally instead of Steve Rogers being Captain America, we have Peggy Carter being Captain Carter. Because you can't call her Captain Britain because we already have a Captain Britain. So now we're gonna make her seriously. So now we're gonna make her Captain Carter, who literally takes on the same exact storyline, pretty much to a T, as Captain America did. So it was the same thing, except for now.
And why didn't they call her
Steve Rogers in the Hydra stuff?
Yeah,
because she's not American, she's British.
Feel like a what if episode either. Like, it was literally just a what if we continued Captain Carter's storyline.
So the problem, and I like, so what you're saying is true with why is she Captain Carter? Yeah, she's British, but she works for the U.S. Army.
Yeah, she's still in the United States.
She's an Army soldier. She's a U.S. Army soldier.
Yeah.
Although it would be kind of weird if they named her Captain America.
She works for S.H.I.E.L.D. She works for the U.S. Army. She's in the Army with Tommy Lee Jones. And so she might be from Britain with an accent, but she was here in fighting for our army. I don't think she was. She wasn't like on loan.
Separate. You need something to separate Captain America from somebody else. Yeah, so they just decided to make it Captain Carter instead. I mean, this episode wasn't that bad. Again, like you said, Mila, it was basically just a continuation of the Captain Carter story and the Guardians of the Multiverse.
It wasn't bad, though. It was boring, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Also, I thought-
originally. It was a rehash.
Yeah.
Which doesn't bode well for season 3.
Yeah. What I did like about it though is how they had her going at the Red Room. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So this episode I actually did enjoy. What I didn't like the fight scenes were cool, but what I didn't like is that basically Peggy is indestructible. Like essentially, like not a single scratch was put on her, even though she was smashed with cars and houses, and not a single. That one kind of took me a little bit out of it. But everything else in this episode wasn't bad. I liked how they had the little nuke town, the Russian nuke town, and I like how they went after
more
the
powerful than Captain America.
Huh?
Do you think she's more powerful than Captain America?
I don't know.
I don't think she should be. I think she should be like the same.
I mean, obviously, I
They
don't want
pumped
to
her
get into
with
the
the
whole
same
like
chemicals.
Yeah, but I don't want to get into the whole man versus woman thing. But like, if you just look at it from an actual size wise or strength wise, the original Steve Rogers was a pipsqueak.
Diminutive.
He was super, right? She wasn't. She was normal, size, athletic, in shape, strong. She was an army soldier. So then pump her with the same fluid, her level should be higher.
I see what you're saying.
Let's say 5 levels of what you are. Her starting level was higher than his.
Yeah, but
5 more levels.
Yeah, but like that's the reading between the lines thing. That's something that was never ever told to us.
No, I know, but I'm just kind of going back to what Larry was saying.
Yeah, but I think
she's more indestructible than Steve was.
She's not bulletproof. She's not Superman. She can't she can't
shield.
avoid scratches, even though shrapnel went her way. So I think what Larry's saying is like, why didn't she get bloody, right?
Yeah.
By some of that stuff.
Did she in the first season? I can't honestly. I don't remember. I feel like
she
did, but I could be wrong.
I don't remember.
I have to go back and watch.
She is, yeah.
It just
feels like this season is just pushing Captain Carter on us. Like for some reason,
story.
like just going.
The whole thing is basically her story. Like once it hits her episode, the rest of it's her. Yeah.
But season 2 really solidifies that, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it does. It makes her the star of the show, especially by the last few episodes. When they go back to 1602 and of course the end episode, it makes her the savior of everything.
Also to kind of meta this a little bit, you got to remember that there's a whole they're doing this whole strong, powerful women motif, right? Especially with the Marvels and all that. So I'm not surprised that they're trying to bring Captain Carter up a level and give her more of a story.
Yeah,
but they're not.
I want to see that, Bruno.
What?
Yeah.
What did you say?
Mila?
Larry?
No, Larry, you go.
Marco? Larry?
Oh no, I like it kind of. I see where Bruno's coming from. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I was just agreeing. I was like, I
don't have an opinion on it per se. I think that's probably where it's coming from. If I, total guess, but there's a really strong movement in that direction.
Yeah, it's just weird that like. I don't know. They're making her so almost inhuman in ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like she can't just be a woman and be powerful, but also take those hits. She has to be perfect. She has to be completely indestructible, which is almost like how far are we going? It's like it's this weird back and forth.
Right.
Yeah, it would have been a better story if she had taken some hits, been knocked a little bit around, and then overcome. That's one of the criticisms that I have and a lot of people have about the poor writing that's going on right now. So you want to create strong female characters, and you've got to make them quote unquote stronger than the men in order to even hit the men level, right? It's just one of those almost kind of overcompensating. And so when what they're doing is that they're just saying, essentially, you've got your power, it's innate, and you just got to realize you've got it, and now you're super. And that's not a good story. A good story is someone who gets knocked down and learns and pushes through and perseveres through some struggle and then becomes better, stronger, faster through that process.
It's Rocky 3.
Story. Rocky 3, I mean, there are a lot of well-written stories like that with strong women. We've talked about, the show Arcane a couple times. That has got an amazing, two women, strong women in that arc, and they're not super from the beginning, and they hit adversity and they grow, and you want to see a character grow. You want to see how they overcome, and those struggles are what codify your strength and your resolve and whatever. And so if they just kind of become immortal, it's boring. It's not interesting.
Yeah, and that's what they've been doing with like all of the female characters that they've been coming out with.
Yeah.
Like especially like all of the Marvels have like they're all like hyper super amazing beings that can never ever be touched.
Like that.
Captain Carter, literally this season, Captain Carter's become that almost immediately. Like the first season, it was like, okay, yeah, all right, cool, I can get behind this. But season 2 just completely ruined her. And it's like, okay, she's Captain America, but she's also like
she's overpowered,
unfathomably powerful. And you go, okay,
and it's not interesting. It's boring. There are some people that'll tell you Superman. I love Superman, but Superman's a boring character. You can't. There's no struggle essentially that he couldn't overcome. And so like that's a problem. And Stan Lee's talked about that, and DC has talked about. Like they just talk about, you've got to give. If you have a superpower, you have to have a disadvantage in some other capacity, and then you've got something you can overcome.
You have to have a kryptonite, if you will.
You have to have your kryptonite. You have to have it, and if you don't, it's boring. Yeah.
Before we get too far ahead, because we skipped this one, what did you guys think of episode 4? Iron Man crashes into the Grandmaster.
I think I might have missed that.
I thought it was fun. I thought that was a fun episode. I'm gonna keep it real.
There you go.
I mean, when I saw Taika Waititi was in it, I was like, okay. Same with the first one. I was like, okay.
He's back again.
I remember that now.
I was like, oh boy, I missed him so much. But
I'm so done with him.
The only thing I really kind of liked about this one is that Gamora was still kind of bad, right? Like she wasn't a Guardian. She wasn't on the good side. She was kind of like on her own. Thanos is still her dad. She loves him and she's mad that he got killed or whatever. So she wants vengeance. And I like that aspect. Outside of that, this episode sucks as well. It was Death Race 2000.
It was.
Again.
Hey,
it was
good call.
It was on another freaking movie that we've already and if you haven't seen, they remade that movie like 3 times.
Hey, this was the episode where his suit turns into the race car, right?
Yeah.
Everyone
say hi, Mark. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
So
that was cool, that little switcheroo was kind of neat.
That's why I gave it. That's why I gave this one a 0.25, was because of that one little part. Outside of that, this episode sucked too. This one and the Peter Quill one, which is just bad.
See, I liked this one more than the Peter Quill episode.
I
didn't think it was a great episode. I just thought it was more fun. Yeah. It was more of a lighthearted episode. Didn't move the needle for me, but it wasn't, it didn't move the show along. It was just an interesting what if. Like this one to me was one of the most what if episodes. Like, it didn't really have too much to do with anything, and it's like, okay, Stark doesn't make it back through the portal. He gets shot back out into space. So, all right.
But that's what they're all supposed to be. They're supposed to be like this. It has nothing to do with the rest of the season.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I liked about it, was that it didn't. It was the one that was like, all right, this is a real what if story that can stand on its own.
But this is one of those episodes. This is one of the things that Marvel said, hey, we're going to create these rules. This is one of those things. It's like they've created these rules, but they only play with them when they want to. It's like this episode was 100% a what if, But then they were like, yeah, we're not going to do what if episodes like that. We're going to make them all what ifs, but we're going to connect them all together again. And
I know.
it's
I mean, the episode 6 with Corey could have been, right? That
I like that
could
episode too, though.
I do too. And that could have been until they dragged her into the ending. You know what I mean? They drag her into the main part of it. You know what I'm saying?
I rolled my eyes
but
at Doctor Strange.
saw that one happening right at the end.
I was like, bro, no way. Because I actually thought Kahori's episode was like, I thought it was kind of cool. Like I thought it was a cool premise, and I thought she was kind of interesting.
She's interesting. My only struggle with the episode is I watched it way too late at night. This was like a 2:30 in the morning episode for me, and I'm trying to read subtitles at the same time. I'm like, what the hell's happening here?
Way too late.
Oh wait! Don't ever watch this episode that time of night. You've got to sit down with a cup of tea and watch this episode because you're going to be able to read and pay attention. It was not happening. But I enjoyed it.
The subtitles threw me off. The zipping through everything really fast was very Tron-like. Give me very Tron.
Yeah. Super Tron.
Yeah, but
that's the one for this episode, Tron.
Yeah. But with this episode though, I like that they gave us a new character. She's a brand new character. I think we're gonna see more of her. I did a little bit of background, a little dive on this episode, and the language that they speak, it was traditional, authentic Mohawk from the Indian tribe Mohawks. So they did their due diligence with this particular episode.
Yes, because they
so cool.
They reached out. Like if you look at the end, they thanked both the Mohawk tribe and I forget the other one. There were two different basically tribes that they reached out to and consulted with particularly for that episode to make it as authentic as possible.
I mean,
it was really
or just to not get ripped, right?
Obviously,
authentic. Imagine 2024 if you didn't. And something was off. That would have been the end. Pack it up, go home.
You have to do it. Yeah, there's no option not to.
Yeah.
But I say overall, I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was a fun episode, and I wish it would have stood more on its own. But I understood why they had to bring her into the end to fight. Supreme Strange Supreme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I did this episode. I thought it was beautiful.
I like
visually. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, visually is unbelievable.
There were some scenes that I thought the animation was kind of sketch, but other than that, there's one scene where they're dancing around the fire, and I just could see the character. They're kind of like, and I was like,
maybe an extra to run pass through. Maybe one more pass through on that. One more render. Let's give it one more render.
I was like,
who ran better though? Well, visually, her running or the Flash movie running?
Her, 100%.
Her running.
The Flash movie
her.
She wasn't doing this nonsense.
Yeah, not the
throwing bullshit at the screen. Like
that
he's
was so
flinging
bad.
his poo.
So
he's grabbing his poo and flinging it from behind. Oh my god.
That was so hard to look at.
Ezra Miller's a shit show. Give me Grant Gustin any day.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. So what did we think of the Avengers Assemble in 1602? Episode 8.
I thought the premise
was amazing.
Drag the multiverse into it.
Yeah. I want that sword.
So for me, it took to the end to bring me back to really liking this episode. Like the end of the episode. Throughout it, I thought it was a fun watch. Again, we have a whole multiverse thing. Like, they put them all there, but I wasn't really sure who was good and who was bad and what storyline they were trying to follow. Like, if that world was about to crumble, like it was supposed to, like that universe was supposed to just die off, how did all of them end up together? That's what I don't understand. Like, that kind of threw me off a little bit.
And Happy Hogan with the Hulk.
Was it Wanda? Did Wanda only bring Carter through, or did she bring everybody else?
I don't know. All we know is that we got there.
Because Wanda's the one who brought Carter there.
Right, because she brought Carter.
Oh, yeah.
Both captains were there. I like that. It was cool having them be in the same episode.
Yeah. He was Robin Hood. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this
soldiers, I didn't quite get that.
The what?
The little tiny soldiers.
Oh, they're the Yellow Jackets. They're
those
Ant-Man's
are the Yellow
enemy
Jackets.
Yeah.
from the first
I-
Ant-Man movie.
How did they be like that?
Did you not see the first Ant-Man?
I did.
The
But,
enemy was Yellow Jacket.
Oh
He
yeah,
had
I mean, I guess Ant-Man
he
still
stole
had
the
his
technology
abilities.
and he
It
made
was
the Yellow
just weird
Jacket
that
costume.
what was there,
So they just
what
had a ton of
wasn't
them.
there. It
Right. So the thing that bothers me about this one was that everybody was there together, but yet like Thor was a bad guy now because his sister that was the queen, which I thought was a continuation of 5 when she took over, but obviously it wasn't.
No.
Right. This one was kind of muddled a little bit as far as who was good, who was bad, and then we find out that who was good, and who was bad. And again, like you said, Mila, how Happy Hogan turns into the Hulk. How did he become the Hulk? I thought he only got that serum back in episode 3, which was a different universe altogether. I didn't like that. Yeah, so that whole part of it kind of was very, very muddled for me, and I wasn't the biggest fan. It wasn't up until we find out that the Steve Rogers from 1602 was actually our Captain America Steve Rogers. That's when I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of brought that one.
I mean, he was ours, but from a not necessarily a different timeline. He's the one who skewed his timeline differently because he nicked the time stone when he went after.
Right, because he nicked the time stone.
Ours
Right.
didn't do the one we saw in the movies in Infinity Saga didn't do that, right?
Right.
They didn't do that.
But I think that like none of the other, I guess just because we haven't seen any of the other Captain Americas actually fight Thanos. So maybe that's why this is the only, I can't remember, but I think that this is the only reference to a Captain America fighting Thanos was in this one. So I automatically went with, oh, that's our Captain America, like with the beard and everything else like that. And he had the Wakanda shield that, I don't know if you caught that, the shield that he's fighting with as Robin Hood. It's kind of like the Wakanda shield. So that's what made me go, oh, that's ours. That just kind of, that was all the tad bit because he had the time stone. So, I mean, but that kind of brought me around to this episode. But then when, at the end of it, when they figure out that it's him and then she blasts him away, she's not there, empty. Like, where did everybody go? Like, if she saved that universe, he should have left and she should have still been there with everybody else because she just saved that universe and saved that timeline.
That's what makes me think that Wanda brought everybody there. Like, it's the Happy Hogan from episode 3. It's different. I could be completely wrong. I literally have to go back and watch this one again because that beginning part, maybe because it was 3:30 in the morning, screwed me up, and I didn't understand why they were all there.
It's a lot of it's blurring together for me too.
Right, because they knew who they were.
Right.
Like, it's almost like they were joking about the fact that they were in 1602, and Tony was Tony, like from the future. Because he's creating Stark tech, which
okay. That makes sense.
No,
but
he
like
was
they're
also
all
from the
not from
past
that
because
universe.
he didn't know what she was talking about when she referenced stuff that he made, like arc reactors. He was like, what even is that?
He even does like the language. He's like, "Oh, talk like that. It's so futuristic. I love it."
Yeah.
But
so
it was like
it's like everyone was there, but like they weren't from the future. But like she was because Scarlet Witch knew something. Like I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's literally like unfortunately, I feel like I have to watch that one again.
I'll let you watch it again, and
I'll watch. I'll get some notes on your desk by Monday. So that was the second to last episode, and then you have episode 9, everybody's favorite. Back to Supreme.
Man, this episode, man.
And this one really, brought in everything from everywhere. Season 1, season 2, beginning, everything, including which, a little scary. The FBI is listening to us. The fight between Wanda and Kahori would have been better versus Carter and Wanda. I agree. It would have been more dynamic.
Yeah, that would have been cool because
she did fight her at some point. Like she
Yeah.
did. They did go after each other. You saw the two energies going at each other. But it would have been more of an epic battle if the two of them went together the whole time.
hated that it was literally just them two, and there was like no team or anything that we had established already.
Right.
Like it was just them, and instead of getting more people from whatever mystical way you can get more people, because you could throw anything at the wind at this point, and it would make sense.
When she had the Infinity suit, armor, she still didn't bring the rest of the team over.
Right. And instead of having a bigger team to deal with this issue and work as a team, instead they decided, let's just power Carter up to the nth degree. So we don't even need anyone else.
Infinity suit before. She had the Infinity suit before she went in to the cauldron. You know what I mean? To the thing they had to destroy.
Which was
she already had that. At that point, you think she's like, all right, I have the reality stone, I have the time stone, I have the space. I can just bring everybody over here that I need.
Instead of that happening, which would have made so much more sense.
I got this. I got my shield. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's kick his ass. You're glowing blue, and I got my shield. Let's do this. Let's go.
Just give me everything you've ever had, ever.
Easy peasy.
My thing about, like there was a lot of in this episode that I really did actually enjoy. This is one of the better episodes. It kind of took me on a roller coaster right from the beginning because I was like, oh, wow, cool. You know, like the group is formed around Strange and Peggy. Like they're the guardians of the multiverse. They're the two mainstays. They're the ones that kind of run everything. And then you find out that Strange is diabolical. He's the real baddie. Then you're like, oh, shit, wait a minute. They're just going to rehash that same storyline. That's what this is all about. It's just him wanting his girlfriend back. That kind of took me out of it.
Kind of saw it coming.
Yeah, it was cool for like
I kind of saw it coming. He was a bit sketchy from the get-go.
Yeah, and I actually wrote that in my notes. I was like, you know, we should have kind of seen that from the get. Going back to the zombies, I fucking hate zombies.
The zombies is super dumb.
Yeah, the zombies are super dumb. But the Scarlet Witch zombie, I was like, oh, she's pretty badass. Like I was okay with that. I want to talk about
really cool zombie from that.
Yeah, right, Mila. What I can't stand, and this is going back to season 1. The Infinity Stone Crusher couldn't crush the stones because it was created in a different universe from the stones that it was trying to crush. Yep. That being said, we all agree that those stones should have never worked then because they were each one from different universes. So they should have never worked on the Ultron. Here we are in season 2. We're going back to the Infinity Gauntlet Stones or the Infinity Stones.
And they
still work. This universe that they're in is not the same universe that they were created in. So how do they work? And how do we have a suit made of them?
They just do because Marvel said they do.
Yeah. But
it's not consistent. It's not good.
It was from Killmonger's suit. It was Killmonger from that universe that he pulled him into. That's the only explanation it could be. The Killmonger they had, because Killmonger never had the Infinity. He had him in the first season. But is it the same Killmonger? Because they defeated him.
Right. And if that Killmonger has the Infinity Suit, that Infinity Suit should only work on the universe he's originally in, not the new one that he just pulled him into.
If it's the same
one. That was an episode.
I think they're not going to get a good answer. I think we don't know because they just decided to make it work. That's the example of like no consistency. Right? That's an issue.
Yeah, it's just, by having like Larry said, by having the Stone Crusher, it threw everything off. Yeah. Having the Stone Crusher not work made it worse.
Right, made it 100%
either
worse.
Make it work, but then that would have been a nice, clean, easy ending, right? You just crush the stones, it's all done, or just don't create it at all.
Yeah.
Create a different way for them to.
It was not well thought out.
No, because you're tying yourself into that parameter, that paradigm that it doesn't work. They don't work anywhere else, and then you make multiple episodes where they do. including the ending of the first season when when Ultron has the Infinity Stones in his suit, and he goes through all the different multiverse, and they work. Shouldn't.
Well, that's like writing 101. You got to be like, okay, I'm going to introduce the cup of infinite power. All right. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that everybody who touches it can basically do anything? Does that mean this guy can do it, that guy can? Like, you've got to understand every single mighty thing you introduce. Does that impact anything else that you wrote? Right. And if it doesn't, you're good. If it does, you got to write around it and figure out. You got to give the reason. You got to give the audience a good reason why it won't work in this particular.
And that's not to say that in comics they haven't stepped over their own toes. You're talking 80, 90 years worth of stories where, they wrote something back in the 30s or the 40s or 50s and it's changed. Characters have changed. Batman used to carry a gun. Things have changed over time. Kryptonite wasn't invented until it was 10 years after Superman came out. It was on a radio show when they first introduced Kryptonite. And it wasn't in the original lore. So you have to change things. I get that. But this isn't that. It's not 50 years ago you introduced these stones and you said they don't work in another universe. This was just a few years ago. You should be able to keep up with your own story.
Yeah.
Yeah, put a postcard, put a note on your board there that you're writing everything down on. Don't let the stones work everywhere.
Right, but I feel like this might be something that what happens when you have different writers, different creators, different people that just go, hey, I want to do a story and go, yeah, you know what? Well, I don't care how you set your story up. I'm gonna set up mine differently. It reminds me of the Grant Morrison run that he did with Batman right before they did the New 52. Mark, you can back this one up. Grant Morrison had this whole storyline with Batman that he was going to kill him off. He had the death of the family, and they had all that.
Yeah.
And he told DC, he was like, look, I understand that my run is going to be interrupted by the New 52. That's fine. I'm still doing my run. And so we got that run until it kind of sort of catches up to the New 52. I think that's kind of what this is. It's
in a way they can explain that out when they do that. Like Kevin Smith did a couple of runs on Batman, and they can kind of explain it out like this is not the main canon universe. That's a separate universe because it's a multiverse, and they can still do it.
Right, but that's a weak cop out. It's like, you know what, way and do things. And this is one of the things that when they start introducing the multiverse that we had talked about, I'm worried that if somebody writes a story, the story is absolutely horrible, or it goes sideways, or it doesn't make sense with what we already know, you can always pass it off as, oh, well, it's in the multiverse, so it's okay.
No, but Larry, there's still an issue.
But getting back to the stones, if you say they don't work in any other universe, you've included the entire multiverse, and then you make them work somewhere else. You're stepping on your toes. Nobody said, no, there's a show Bible, if you will. You can't do that.
Any developers out there will know the difference between a global variable and a local variable, and that's essentially what we're talking about here, right? Every universe is that's the local variable. Then there's a global variable that says this thing applies to all those other little things. And what you've said is there's a rule that everything in here doesn't work over here and doesn't work over here. And so if that's the case, you violated that by allowing them to work in this other episode. And so you're violating that rule. You can't get away with it in this instance by saying it's another multiverse, because there's a multiverse rule that's another level up that governs that, the way that thing's operating. So it's not a cop-out. It's simply just a mistake. They screw that up, So I don't know.
Yeah. That's to me that runs down to like almost, and I hate to say it, like a Feige error, right?
Oh, yeah.
You are the overseer of the multiverse, and you let them get away with that, and then you go, no, you can't do that, because you're supposed to be in charge of it and kind of keep everything on track. You let that go left.
Yeah. He should have caught this, right? He should have.
It's a pretty big deal. It's not a little, it's not a little Starbucks cup in the background.
Well, somebody should have definitely followed it as they were writing this shit down and putting it to animation. Like somebody should have said, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Didn't we just do an animation for an explanation of why these don't work? Why this doesn't work? Like, why are we animating the same? Somebody should have caught it, I feel, before it went to print, if you will, before they put it in the can.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's rate the overall, because we're an hour and 24 minutes now. Let's rate the overall season just in and of itself. What would you give it? Out of 5, you can use decimals. I don't care.
2.5.
How many bags you dig?
I'm gonna give it an overall 3, a flat 3.
Nice.
Yeah, because I rated every episode with decimal points and everything, and I did the proper thing. I added all of them up. I averaged them by 9, and my overall was like 3.11137 or something like that.
Okay.
But so overall, I'm giving it a 3.
I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this a nice even, like 1 3/4. I think.
Oh, shit!
And I hate this show. It's like
I can't wait to
the
see her
good
review
bits
on
of it
season 3.
don't even come close to outweighing the absolutely horrendous bits of it. Like not even a little bit. Like it's not even middle of the road. Like it's got good bits that are constantly crushed and diminished because of the badness of this show. And the poor writing and all of that.
Yeah,
It's just,
writing is bad.
there's no love in this show.
The badness of the show was more powerful than the good stuff of the show to give you a 1 point. Woo! Hey,
Like-
Marco, do you remember like the first season that you and Mila did when it was just you two, and you both were like, "We love this. We love this. This was a great episode. I'll see you next time." Then you let me come on the show.
And everything went dark. If
Everything
you
went
were our Dark Knight Returns.
And now Mila is trying to come to my side of the
You were
world.
Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. Everything
Horrible.
fucking turned dark after you came on. That
Well,
was
my
it.
villain
Thomas
arc.
was happy and Batman was smiling, and then Larry comes on. It's just dark and brooding ever since then.
But then we got Bruno, and Bruno's like kind of like right there with me with a lot of things. So
Yeah.
So Bruno, what's your rating?
My rating 2.5. Because I feel like it was for me. It was. I go back to the feeling that I had the minute I had to start watching the episodes, where I was like, okay, you know what I mean? We're like literally. I was just like,
That's all I'm gonna get, huh? That's all I'm gonna
I
get.
don't wanna watch
Every
any
time
of
I
this.
looked at the next title, that's what I went through. I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, I was like boring.
Not
boring,
interesting.
boring. Just so it's like middle of the road. Just like I got to slog through it. It wasn't like super bad, but nothing there really shined.
Yeah.
It was like the Hela episode and the Nebula episode were like the only even close to redeemable episodes. Like they were good.
Yeah,
They were good episodes.
yeah. And I'm
The
like,
Buhari one was also pretty good. And then it was like
yeah.
everything
I'm gonna
else.
throw Thor's Thunder Sword in there as a thumbs up. Other than that,
The Odin sword?
the Odin Sword, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Our Father, I think it's called. It's called the Our Father.
Yeah, I forgot the name, but it's
That's the
it's
Our Father.
badass. That thing's
Yeah,
cool.
it's pretty
I
cool.
want
Yeah,
one.
I'm at a
that's-
3. I'm at a 3.25 on this
Whoa.
one. Yeah,
Wow.
3.25. There was for me, there was definitely more redeemable parts that brought it just above a 3. Because otherwise, I'd be a 3 as
Marco's
well.
on the take. Somebody at Disney's like, "Hey, Marco, we'll give you some cash."
Making it rain, baby.
I love Disney. Oh my gosh,
Backing up
I
the
love
brink
the
trucks.
Marvel shows.
Everything
you're
you do is
listening.
amazing.
In case you're listening, did you ever see the episode of Big Bang Theory when the Air Force basically takes over their project for the gyroscope? And they basically like they send an email and Howard's just nervous the Air Force is listening, and Raj just like because he's Indian so he's got a green card, he's just like, "I love America." He shuts the laptop like, "What if it's not? What if it's the enemies of America?" He opens it and goes, "And I love America's enemies too." And he shuts the laptop.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's basically what's
It's
happening. I love Disney and Marvel. Yeah. So what
Ever
are we
since
looking
this
for? Are
new-
we
this
looking
new
forward to
phase
anything in
has
season
been
3?
great.
Has anybody seen the trailer for season 3?
No,
No.
not yet.
Oh, they
There's a trailer already.
I mean,
Yeah, I think
I
they
will
did.
watch
They
it.
I think they did it back to back. I think they because of the strike and everything like that. I think they did a lot of stuff in tandem. I think they kind of cleaned this one up and then they were producing season 3 at the same time. I think they were greenlit when season 1 came out. They greenlit both seasons at the same time. So they just kind of banged out both seasons, which would help, especially for voice actors to get them all in there and just get it done. But yeah, see, there's already a good size trailer for season 3.
Does it
Oh,
look good?
I'd want to see the titles and to see if
Nah.
anything's interesting.
No, well, there's no titles yet. Then I think that maybe,
No, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll see what happens.
So, hopefully there's some good creative ideas and something
I don't get your hopes up.
a little bit more. But yeah, I'm honestly
Yeah.
really looking forward to
I'm
it.
sure half of it's going to be something that's literally just a storyline. And
I
then the
mean,
other half,
we still have Captain Carter with Watu at the end. Like, oh, I bet you can't wait to see what comes up next. She's like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
man, I can't wait.
Another 9
I
episodes
love
of
Captain Carter.
Another 9 episodes of Captain Carter. I love her enemies too.
There's nothing really about season 3 that I'm looking forward to. Like, obviously I'll watch it, but there was nothing about last season that made me go, "Ooh, I can't wait for season 2." There's nothing about this season to make me go, "Ooh, I can't wait for season 3." Like, all right, so we know that it's Captain Carter based, and it's like, all right, so season 3 is just going to tie into one of the live action movies. I think that it's like, because we have this whole multiverse, so it's either going to wrap up, it's going to help wrap up multiverse, or be part of. No.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
guessing we're gonna get Carter, we're gonna get evil Doctor Strange, and then
Maybe
just a
some
bunch of
more
other.
Black Widow. We're gonna get some.
We'll get more Black Widow, I think.
But I think you're right. I think it's going to help launch what's happening in What If into the multiverse movies.
I'm
And
sure
we'll see what
gonna be
happens.
smooth like butter.
But I know they're still like this. They've delayed a lot of stuff, and they're kind of rehashing some of the stuff. And now, like you said, with the Jonathan Majors of it all, they have to kind of figure that out too, as to how they go moving forward. Whether they continue with Kang, recast him, or switch up the villains. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys are looking forward to out there? Not just necessarily Marvel based, or it's a lot of stuff coming up. The big slates of things coming up.
I actually can't think of anything really in 24. I mean, it's just for what I want to see the not the continuation. I want to see mutants. I've been dying to see mutants. I want to see mutants. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Deadpool 3. After all these previews, I'm actually, believe it or not, looking forward to Echo, because they're going to take that whole TV MA. I like that Disney's going to do that. So I think that's going to open up the Punisher coming back, the new Daredevil. Like, I want to see that. I want to see the Defenders done right, or continue to be done. I want to see that. I want to see more street level superheroes if we're going to continue with superhero stuff. But as far as like really what's coming out, there's nothing really that kind of grabs you by the boo-boo really right now.
Ooh,
might have to wait a couple months.
Say that again. Didn't grab you by the what?
Oh yeah.
Grab you by the boo-boo.
There it is. Make sure these are working. Make sure I heard you right.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You grab him by the boo-boo.
I think Deadpool 3 would be fun. Other than that, I don't have a lot on the radar that I'm really, really hoping for.
Yeah. I saw that I did a quick search of like movies that are coming out this year.
Yeah.
I saw Mad Max Furiosa is coming out.
Yes.
I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be cool because I love the Mad Max series. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
The Mad Max original series? Or
original series, and I watched the new one as well. And I think that I love the one. They're great.
I thought Fury Road was terrible.
I loved Fury Road. I thought that was
I'm a big Tom Hardy fan.
Oh, look at this.
And I'm super excited.
You have
a lot going on.
I loved
Night
it.
Swim,
I loved
Argyle,
it.
Madam Web, couldn't care
Oh,
less.
wow.
Was the second part of Dune. Ooh, Kung Fu Panda. The Ghostbusters, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla X Con, excuse me. You don't exactly know what this if is. Furiosa is what she's talking about. There's a new Planet of the Apes coming out.
Boring.
Ballerina.
Yeah.
So that's the offshoot for John Wick, the John Wick spinoff.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I'm there for that. No question about it.
They're dragging out the bad boys again.
Another
I
one.
like it. Another one. I'm okay with it. I like that.
I see Inside Out. I thought Inside Out was really good.
Did you like that one? I couldn't get behind that one. Despicable Me. Twisters. They're doing Twisters.
Why?
I don't know.
Is that just Twister 2?
Yes. Finally, after like 30 years. Yeah. And what's his name is gone,
What is
unfortunately, you know.
That movie
This is
sucked.
amazing. I'm excited for that. That's great.
I guarantee we see the same Kyle going by.
Yeah, probably. That movie sucked.
Borderlands is just a video game. There's a new Alien movie.
What? They're
Kraven
making
the
a Borderlands
Hunter.
movie?
Yep. Coming out in August.
Damn.
Kraven
No,
the Hunter.
man.
No,
The
I'm not
Beetlejuice
happy.
2.
Hey,
not happy.
Venom 3. We can finally do our Venom series.
Oh boy. I noticed how you skipped right over Joker.
Oh,
Joker can die in a
Force
fire.
me to
I'm
watch,
Yeah,
not
thinking
into
of
it
big
all.
bag dicks, I could care less.
That forced me to watch Venom
Transformers
2
1,
again.
I don't
I don't
know.
think I can do that.
Transformers I'll watch just because it's just cool shit.
Yeah.
wait, what's Karate Kid?
Yes. So you didn't
Are
see
they
the
making
news.
another remake?
Ralph Macchio has teamed up with Jackie Chan. They're making a movie together, and they promoted they're doing a national search for the next Karate Kid. But they're going to be in the movie. They're producing. I think they're both going to be in the movie. So the Will Smith's, what's his name?
Jaden
Smith's Karate Kid. His Miyagi crosses over. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. We'll see.
I feel
Okay.
like this is a money grab, and I'm
A
not
crossover?
Huge cash grab.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not really thrilled about it.
Nothing but.
I'm
Much
not
like
here for
Gladiator 2.
Yeah, but
Oh
I'll
my
watch.
Gladiator 2?
You throw Gladiator shit out there, I'll watch it
Didn't
every
he
day.
die at the end? Spoiler alert, after 30 years. Did he die at the
Did he
end?
Yeah.
Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we know how you feel about movies like that, Bruno. Like, you have some inner demons, man. Like, you just want to go out there and kill and just kill. Like, that's
I have a lot of
your
rage. I have a lot of
That's a-
rage.
go
So
up, man.
here's a bunch of movies we don't need. The Karate Kid, a Sonic 3,
I think we
Mufasa,
need a Sonic 3, personally.
The Lion King.
My son would love to see Sonic 3.
No, I'm sure that did really well. Those movies did really well. And the War of Rohirrim, a new Lord of the Rings movie,
Well, Sonic's
Oh,
good,
God.
so.
which I'm
The
sure they'll
movies
just
are
turn into a trilogy as they do.
Yeah. I mean, I'll
Probably
watch
will.
it. I don't have high hopes.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean, I am
That's not bad.
seeing a,
That's not a bad lineup.
I want to see. I don't know when it's going to come out, Marco, but I want to see the new Batman DCU version, though, the Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I can't remember. Are they doing that as an animation or live action?
No, it's live action.
It's live action. So I mean, out of the whole DCEU thing, I'm looking forward to seeing that one because I think that's a cool story. I like Damian as Robin, so
Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to the Superman movie. I want to see what he does with it. I want to see if he, after Christopher Reeve, I haven't really seen the definitive Superman that I really want to see. I loved Henry Cavill, but the movie sucked.
Yeah.
I like him as Superman. Just again, like Ben Affleck, good Superman stuck in bad movies.
I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's too bad. But we get the new guy looks pretty good. So we'll see what happens. I actually want to get out there and see Wonka. I listened to the audiobook. Looks fun. Looks really
I
fun.
wouldn't mind seeing that, like a young Wonka. Yeah.
The book was good. I just finished the audiobook. I've been doing a lot of audiobooks like while I'm driving and stuff like that because I don't really have time to just sit and read. So I do a lot of audiobooks.
That's not bad. I like doing those. I like doing those as I'm working, popping my earplugs in.
I listened to the definitive Big Bang Theory book. It was like a 14-hour listen. It was pretty good.
You can't get enough of that, can you?
No, I can't.
You are mysteriously addicted to that show, and I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Not
watch
quite
it
sure.
all
I like
the
the
time.
Big Bang Theory.
You don't say.
15th run through. We're good. Let's go. So there it is. All right. Anything else you guys want to add before we jump out of here?
No, this was kind of a cool experience. I don't mind as the first time. Thank you, Mark. I don't mind doing this whole live action. Hey, he knows where his bread's buttered. Actually, I like doing this whole Zoom live action.
Yeah.
Some good stuff. It was pretty cool. I like it. Other than that, I've got nothing more.
All right, cool. No, that was good. This was definitely fun. We can definitely do this more often. So we encourage everybody else to do it. But obviously it's fun being in the same room together as well. But on the off chances, we can definitely do more video stuff because we wanted to do more video stuff. We never really do. It's just audio. So hey, it's 2024. You never know. Get to more.
By the way, saying that, I had to write that the other day and it felt a little weird. Right in the date, 24. And I was like, ooh, it's 24.
Yeah.
Wow. New year.
I know, it's crazy.
New
Right?
year. How's the snow looking?
Crazy. It's
New
looking
year,
ugly
new
out
you.
there.
Busy.
Over here, it looks like it stopped, but someone to go out there and clean. But all right, I want to thank everybody for being on today. Thank you for all of our listeners, everybody who, David and the FBI, oddly enough, and Mark, and, everybody who commented online. Hopefully, you guys get to watch this again. This is streamed live to our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, and our Facebook all at the same time. It was pretty cool. Don't forget to check us out at entertainmentrants.com. Check out the Subculture Podcast Network as well. Again, you can see all the other podcasts that we offer at bio.link/Subculture Pod Network. Check those guys out. Some amazing shows on there. We love them. I think I'm going to be on with them again. We're doing another one of our sort of live streams that we do with these guys. I want to say it's on the 21st. Let me just double check. Somewhere around the 21st. It's one of the last weekends of the month. We're going to be doing another live show. So look for that. I'll post it up on our Facebook page and everything like that. We'll get this. They want to get you guys on the show too. So I'll reach out. I'll let you guys know when that's happening. And if you're available, it's the same thing. We just use StreamYard. And if you're available and you want to pop in and do some chats, that would be awesome. So I'll let you guys know when that's going to be. All right. So let's jump on out of here. Thank you, Bruno.
That's it. You murdered him because you could.
That's right, because you could. See, I knew Bruno would bring it back in the end.
Damn it.
Thank you, Mila.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We are Entertainment Rants at entertainmentrants.com. What are we going to go do, everybody?
Let's rant.
Oh, no, not engaged.
All right.
Let's
Take two. What are we going to go out there and do, everybody? Hashtag.
Rant. Let's rant.
Rant.
Engaged by success.
Wow.